embarked on a 5-year, 12,000 nautical mile odyssey to sail from Maine to the Bay of Virgins in French Polynesia. She battled raging storms at sea, uncovered repressed memories, inspiring her to find a path towards greater healing. Heidi wrote her memoir about living bold dreams. It's called Laughing at the Sky, Wild Adventure, Bold Dream, and a Daring Search for Stolen Childhood. It's available at Amazon. It's an Amazon bestseller in 4 categories. Today, Heidi's goal is to support others in their quest to manage anxiety and fear and to rise above trauma and fully live their boldest dream. You can find more about Heidi and her books and if you're inspirational seekers of courage on HeidiLoveAuthor.com, which is also in the chat. And you can also follow Heidi on her Instagram. Her Instagram is the same, Heidi Love Author. Welcome, Heidi.
Thank you so much, Inga. I'm so honored to be here. And it was great, Sarah, to hear your story as well. And thank you, Debbie. My story is about living bold dreams and my dreams and also your own dreams. For over 40 years, my dream was to sail to French Polynesia and find a hidden waterfall. Perhaps some of you have sailed to Fatahiva and even found the elusive waterfall. If not, just for a minute, imagine the vast Pacific Ocean dotted with over 100 beautiful islands scattered over 12,000 miles. Some are gorgeous, flat, sandy atolls like this one pictured here, circling clear azure water, teeming with fish and coral. Others rise from sea to sky over 1,000 feet with steep green mountains. Powerful waterfalls create rainbows while sun filters through lush tropical jungles. It's like a Gauguin painting, which is where my dream began. When I was 11, I survived violent crime and would sometimes run away. And one gray, cool evening, I was hiding in a dimly lit, dusty library at age 15. I was anxious about walking home alone on a dark, rainy night. As a distraction, I discovered a magazine article about the painter Gauguin and French Polynesia. And I saw incredible photos and paintings of nature and women joyful in their femininity. Suddenly, I opened to a page and saw this glittering waterfall. I felt this like tingling on the side of my face, and the hair on my arms was raising up. And I had this premonition that something powerful was happening. I traced the flowing waterfall from top to bottom, and underneath, my eyes stopped abruptly at the caption, "The Bay of Virgins." I decided then at 15 I would sail there. I kept my childhood dream alive for over 40 years. The abridged version of my story takes us from Maine to Cape Hatteras to the British Virgins in the Caribbean, and then island hopping through the Caribbean, eventually to the magical islands of Cunayala, Panama. It's a matrilineal archipelago of roughly 350 islands, has amazing sailing and very generous, wise people. I crossed the Panama Canal and sailed to the Galapagos. The Galapagos has flora and fauna like nowhere else in the world. And then I sailed to French Polynesia. In the South, or I should say towards French Polynesia. In the South Pacific, the middle of my 5-year journey, I wrote, "The waves are tall, the ocean black and borderless. My 39-foot South African shearwater cutter glides and dips, rising through crests and troughs on waves higher than her stern. All is well for now, yet at sea, as on land, everything can change in a moment. Life cleaved forever into before and after. My husband Dennis sleeps below, but I don't feel alone on deck. Someone is with me, the spirit of the 11-year-old girl I once was, a skinny, high-energy tomboy who dreamed of this voyage. I have held her close and her dream close for 40 years. Long voyages at sea can mess with your head. They also reveal who you are and what to set aside. Parts go overboard, the parts that hinder or make you cower, parts you didn't realize you carried. In their wake can come an overflowing peace that happens when you strip away everything non-essential and discover your purest self, unburdened by weighty secrets held much too long. But I'm getting ahead of myself. What I didn't know when I set out on this journey was that in order to live this dream, in order to heal and feel whole, I had to first break apart. So think for a moment about your own boldest dreams and how you might realize them. For me, there were two key aspects. First was to reach out to supporters, especially sailing sisters, and secondly, to overcome obstacle. And my biggest obstacle was fear. You've likely heard the famous quote about taking a village to raise a child. Well, my village, my guides included Lisa, who's a spirited third gender leader of the matrilineal archipelago Kuniyala, adventure loving women friends I call the Turtle Sisters, amazing sailing sisters that I've met at the National Women's Sailing Conferences and on Facebook's Women Who Sail, my incredibly supportive husband, Dennis, and also a therapist who climbed to 24,000 feet on Mount Everest to study breathing. Which brings me to my second key aspect of living bold dreams, and that's overcoming obstacles. As I said, my biggest obstacle was fear. And when I became afraid, images of my past would flood my brain. I just couldn't stop them. Within minutes, I would have full-blown dissociative PTSD and not know who or where I was. The first of the three incidents occurred over my 5-year sail in a lightning storm off Cape Hatteras, North Carolina, the so-called graveyard of the Atlantic. As lightning struck around my boat and a wave crashed under a heavy metal tray that was carrying solar panels, it sent them 270 degrees right through the Dodger and into the cockpit. And then I had full-blown PTSD and believed my assailant from age 11 was on board with me. I saw him there, or so I believed at the time. Needless to say, I needed to learn how to manage my fear and develop a calming practice. My focus now, as Inga mentioned, is to support women with managing fear and encourage them to live their dreams. I've written 2 books, Laughing at the Sky, Wild Adventure, Bold Dreams, and A Daring Search for a Stolen Childhood, which is a memoir of my 5-year sail. And it did become a bestseller in sailing narratives for several months over the last year. And then a second book, Knowing Acts, a calming practice for emotional balance, which is a hands-on workbook endorsed by a Harvard psychiatrist. And it guides readers, especially women sailors, to develop their own calming practice. It's meant for anyone who can find themselves with a bit of anxiety or fear while sailing, and also those who are healing from trauma. Looking back on my journey, I remember sailing into the Caribbean island of Bequia, and I stumbled on this funky cafe in an old whaling village. The colorful open-air place was chock full of flags from many countries and seafaring paraphernalia. One wall displayed a hand-painted sign that makes me smile, and it reads, "And if not now, when?" So if you're not already doing so, live your dreams. You'll see the most incredible places, learned profound wisdom from indigenous cultures, experience nature's bounty, and find yourself fully alive and at home with all of who you are. My motto is dream vividly, manage fear, and be bold. Your dreams can be bigger than your fear. Thank you so much.